Welcome to Lovin' the Love Boat, a fond and funny look back on the world's greatest cruise ship-based television show. I'm Istvan, singer, songwriter, and TV fanatic.
And I'm Michelle, pop culture enthusiast.
Join us as we relive episodes of one of the most watched TV series of all time.
Occasionally deviating to pop culture charts unknown.
So come aboard, we're expecting you for another edition of
Lovin' the Love Boat.
Michelle.
Yes.
Podcast people, passengers. If ever there was a time that you should have a drink in your hand, I do believe this would be the episode that would demand it.
There's a lot going on and not all of it good.
Most of it not good, really. Yeah. This episode is an episode where we laugh off sexual misconduct.
Oh, gosh.
And alcoholism, basically.
But, you know, there's a lot of alcoholism in the Love Boat, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, this one had kind of a darker tinge to it.
Yeah, it did.
In a way, you know, kind of weird.
Kind of violent.
Yeah, well, you know what? Hi, you guys. Welcome back. So glad to have you here for episode, what is it, 29? We don't know. It's a mystery.
Sometimes 28, sometimes 29, depending on where you look it up.
Right, and as we said, we gave a little bit of a teaser in the last episode that this one deals with a lot of inappropriate behavior.
Basically.
So let's see who's responsible for all of this. Let's get into the stories, okay?
Sure.
All right, first and foremost, we have, and I didn't even understand what this was when I first read it, we have Julie's Aunt, written by Barry Blitzer. We also have Where Is It Written? Written by Lan Okun. And thirdly, we have The Big Deal, written by James F. Henry. And Michelle?
I'll start.
Please do.
First we have Mr. Red Buttons. You know, all right, I'll save my assessment for later. But you were asking where Red Buttons got the name Red Buttons.
Guys, I accost Michelle in the hallway of our home, and I'm like, Michelle, I just like say Red Buttons. I'm like, since I was a kid, you heard his name. Why? Why is he named Red? Maybe that's a little more explainable. But Buttons, that's not his real name.
I have the explanation.
All right.
First, I forgot to mention he plays Uncle Cyrus Foster.
Yes, he does.
Captain Stubing's uncle.
Mm-hmm.
Well, his real name is Aaron Chwatt.
Twat?
Chwatt. I have no idea how you pronounce that.
Okay.
Got the name Red Buttons because he used to be a singing bellhop.
Singing bellhop.
So he must have wore a red jacket or a jacket with red buttons. I have no idea. But he kind of has red hair. But maybe, like you said, it's not his natural hair color.
I don't know.
He's a mystery. Let's just chalk it up to a vaudevillian mystery.
Yeah, I mean, I have always been a little bit baffled by Red Buttons. Didn't dislike the guy, but just was like, just him in general. I just would stare at Red Buttons and wonder, how did he find his way into anything?
Different time.
It really was. It really, as Mark Maron said in his new special, it was a different time, Mark. Red Buttons, it was a different time. All right, who else is on this upsetting episode?
Gene Barry.
Yes.
He plays Alfred Newberry.
Yes.
He was just an actor who was in the original War of the Worlds movie, and then a lot of television shows.
Oh, cool.
Then we have everybody's favorite, Erik Estrada.
Oh, Officer Poncherello is on this episode. I love it.
He plays Jim Warren.
Yeah, see, I kept thinking it was Lawrence, and I was telling Michelle, no, I think it's Lawrence, and she has found otherwise.
Yeah,
it's
usually
Warren.
He accuses me of not hearing.
This
time,
you and I both.
The tables were turned.
What'd you say? All right, who else is on?
But yeah, Erik Estrada, I don't know if anybody ever watches telenovelas.
I do not.
But he was in one of the only one I really watched. It was Dos Mujeres Un Camino.
Wow, you're talking like Bosley from the last episode.
I took my lessons from Bosley. Well, anyway, that was a good soap opera. Then we have Sam Groom. Sometimes I can't read my handwriting.
Sam Groom playing one of the most loathsome characters thus far, in my opinion.
Brad
He did it
Collins.
great.
He did.
Yeah, he played a jerk really well.
So I was looking him up because he was one of those people you've seen before, but you don't really know where. A lot of television shows, but he was in a television show that I might have to do a little research on now. It is called Police Surgeon. What?
Police Surgeon?
Yes.
What era is that? 82?
70s.
70s?
Yeah.
Police Surgeon. Wow.
Early 70s. Then we have Hope Lange. She played Sandra Newberry.
Yeah, she was an attractive older lady.
That's what they said in her
Oh
biography.
my Lord, yes she was.
She was in The Ghost of Mrs. Muir, if you ever watched that.
I'm gonna now.
Then we have Alan Ludden, who played Martin Scott.
Oh, I have a question for you. I'm sorry to interrupt. Just based on one thing that he said during the show, is Alan Ludden Canadian?
Oh, that I don't know, but I do know he was married to Betty White.
That I know, but it's like he was on, what was it, Password?
The
famously?
Password is?
Yeah. Is the Password Canadian? Because I heard him say sorry, and I thought, like, is
I don't
he
know.
Canadian?
Good
And
question. I didn't look at where he was born.
we're going to have to follow up on
Yeah,
that.
and then we have, making a second appearance on the Love Boat, Mr. Richard Mulligan.
Yeah, he split from Loretta Swit from season 1, and now he's on as an alcoholic author.
With a weird name, Mark Littlejohn.
And then finally, who wraps it up?
Oh, the lovely Mackenzie Phillips.
Yes.
She plays Allison Scott.
Daughter to the Alan Ludden character
Yeah,
of Martin
I thought she
Scott.
did a good job on this.
She did.
But she was on One Day at a Time, and she did a great job on that, so.
Watch that show all the time.
Oh, I love that show so much.
Still reference Schneider on a daily basis.
Kind of look like Schneider.
Oh, my God. Because of my T-shirt
And your mustache.
and my tool belt. All right, let's kick it.
Yeah. Let me just start this.
Yeah, please do.
It is totally the episode of Creeper Men.
Yeah, I knew that the Red Button's character was going to be responsible for some gross, pervy, old man kind of stuff, but I didn't realize.
Richard Mulligan.
Yeah.
'Cause he forces himself on Julie right when he comes on board the ship.
And who is this fair nymph of the sea?
Julie McCoy, your cruise director, and this is Gopher Smith, your person.
Honor, Mr. Littlejohn. I've read every one of your books.
Oh, yes. Well, here's the autograph. Yes, thank you. All right. Let the festivities begin. Sandra, what say you, Julie, and I pop some bubbly while the old man puts away the pay?
Too early for me.
Fine. Then Julie McDonald, I guess it's you and me. You know, you work to take care of the passengers. I'm going to need a lot of taking care of.
There he goes, chasing girls again. You really think you can get him to finish his book on this cruise?
Either that or swim home.
Michelle, up front on this episode, they really do just like cram everything in the beginning. So it's like we see the publisher, we see his wife, we see the fact that Richard Mulligan, with a strange last name, is an author, a successful author, but a troubled...
Alcoholic.
Yes. And he just has no regard.
No, but they do need him to finish that last chapter of his autobiography, so they book him on a cruise where there's free-flowing alcohol at all times.
Yeah, and like you said, he's all over Julie, and poor Julie, I mean, that's her job, is to be nice to everybody, and she's got to tolerate this kind of behavior, and he's just pawing her and, you know, going off to his room. But then, you know, we're kind of like given a little bit of a break from that, and we see, who do we see? Was it Alan Ludden first, or was it Mackenzie Phillips? I think it was Mackenzie Phillips, right?
Well, I guess because it's but their father-daughter, so they kind of came on together, right?
Well, that's the thing. Everything is thrown at you right away because they're kind of establishing the fact that the father is in desperate need of some sort of deal.
A merger.
But then she sees someone from her past, even though she's not very old. It's like her high school
Sweetheart. Saxophone playing high school sweetheart.
Yeah.
He does not seem like a sax player.
Or a Jim, for that matter.
No, he does not. Or a Warren.
But yeah, Erik Estrada, Ponch is on board, and his band is there, even though you called it that, like, the band looks exactly the same.
As the band that's always there, just with him added on the sax.
You know what I kept thinking of, too? Like, there's so many things that this was related to, was another person who didn't play the sax in a movie from the 1980s, St. Elmo's Fire. One of my favorite things is when Rob Lowe is the troubled sax player on that. And one of my favorite things on that is when he gets into it, he's playing and he's rocking out on his saxophone, and then he starts clapping to get the crowd clapping, and he goes, "Let's rock! Let's rock!"
Oh, I was just going to say, it's so awkward and not natural.
But then there's another thing that you can go back to of another 1980s movie that I think it's called like Making the Grade or something like that.
Are they going to talk about Lost Boys?
No. It's another one that's related to the Brat Pack because Judd Nelson plays like this like New Jersey, like sort of gangster, you know, stereotypical sort of like, you know, East Coast guy. And he, for some reason, gets sent to like a prep school. And then
Does he play the sax?
No, but he's like impressing all the, you know, the snobby girls, and all of the preppy guys can't stand him. And then he asks the band, I'm deviating to get away from red buttons right now. And then he tells the men, you know anything from the 20th century? And then they're like, yeah. And then they start playing some song. And then he clears the floor. And he also says 2 words.
Break time.
And then he break dances.
I vaguely remember it, but not as much as you remember.
Oh my God,
it.
I don't know why I know that one so well. It's the craziest, stupidest movie of all
I
time.
might have to find it and watch it.
But again, we have a wonderful Erik Estrada pretending to be, proficient on the saxophone and also realizing that Mackenzie Phillips was the love that he lost
In high school.
And the dad is in some way almost, he's not really, whatever. Let's not jump ahead too far for that because...
The rapey leprechaun shows up.
He's so weird looking. He's a little ruddy man with that weird. So many of those men had that steel wool hair that they comb to the side, and somehow now you know more about these things than I do. He must have still dyed his hair red, right? Like he couldn't still have red hair, could he?
Only Red Buttons knows, and his stylist.
Yeah, but he comes on, and the captain is super jazzed because this is the guy that supposedly basically raised him.
Afternoon, ma'am. Foster's a name. Well, good to see the ship is ship-shape and the girl's a girl-shape.
Well, Mr. Foster, we're very happy to see you. We've been expecting you. It's not every day we get to entertain the captain's favorite uncle. I'm Julie McCoy, your cruise director.
My cruise director?
Yes, sir.
Ooh, I hope the other passengers get one just as nice as you. Uncle Cyrus Merrill, or should I say Captain Merrill?
Oh, I've been looking forward to this for a long time. With my father in the Navy, Uncle Cyrus practically raised me. He's responsible for what I am today.
Well, you can't win them all.
Julie, I want you and the crew to outdo yourselves. He gets the red carpet treatment.
Will there be enough room on the carpet for both of us?
Mr. Foster.
It's Uncle Cyrus. Welcome to the family. And it's a very loving family.
Michelle,
Yeah.
You know that I love when they're on the actual real deck of the ship because it's inconceivable to me, but it's always fun to watch how the actors deal with it. Mm-hmm. So they put this publisher dude out on there with his lovely wife, and he's reading a manuscript and trying to keep the pages from blowing all over the place.
Yeah, you wouldn't go to the Pirates Cove or anything to read it. You would sit out on the deck in the wind and the sun.
Yeah, because he's got to read what he's been given by Mulligan so far. But you know what I noticed too is this woman, she's very attractive and her hair's great because it stays in the wind. It always looks good no matter where she is. And she's in some challenging conditions and her hair always stays kind of nice. It's a testament to the Vidal Sassoon or whoever cut her hair in 1978 or whatever because she always looked good. But she is trying to get his attention and what's he doing?
Reading his manuscript.
Yeah, he couldn't be bothered, right?
No, then in slips in Richard Mulligan.
Yeah. Like just getting sloshed and making the weirdest decision. I mean, granted, he's like a wild dude and he's like a whatever Hunter S. Thompson person or whatever he's supposed to be. But he's basically trying to encourage this woman into infidelity of the publisher of his book.
Right.
You know, it's a terrible decision any way you look at it.
Well, he's an alcoholic. Maybe he's not clear thinking.
But this dude is really rejecting her hard. And it's just like, I kind of don't blame her.
I'm in the mood for love.
This little John may be a nut, but he sure can write. I hope I can get him to finish it. This autobiography has got to be a bestseller. His love scenes are incredible.
Anything would be compared to ours. Alfred, you promised me this was going to be a vacation.
Now, hang on, will you? Just a minute, honey, while I finish this chapter.
Okay.
Whoopee.
Hello. A little Irish.
Mark, why don't you go back to your writing? The sooner you finish your book, the sooner Al can relax and enjoy the cruise.
Forget Alfred. Forget him. I'm relaxed, you're relaxed. We'll enjoy the cruise. Let's go forward and get ourselves a little wind in our faces.
You'll be cold.
Oh, the drink inside you. One drink.
Okay, one drink. And then you promise you'll go back to your cabin and write?
I promise. One drink.
That is going to be one long drink.
At some point, we see Julie, right? Why is Julie delivering flowers to Red Buttons? And who's sending him flowers?
You know what? I didn't even think of that. You're right. Like, why would he be getting flowers on the ship? There's a lot of questionable stuff about this, honestly.
And why would it be Julie? Wouldn't it just be some other, like, steward just, like, dropping them off?
Well, I mean, this is where you get into the Michelle.
I don't know. I guess it's because it's the captain's uncle, so... and it's obviously the setup for Julie to be attacked for the first time by Red Buttons.
He did look great, though, didn't he?
That oversized robe.
Yeah, with his big puffy robe.
And his ascot.
Is that what it's called, an ascot?
I believe so. But it everything looked giant on him. Like they didn't size him at all properly for his costume.
Because he's probably like 2 feet tall, and it's just like...
We don't have a tiny robe.
I can't believe Julie wasn't, kind of won over by that look.
A 20-something-year-old woman with a, 70-something-year-old leprechaun.
Horny leprechaun is lunging at her in that cabin.
In that weird robe.
And then the other thing that is kind of weird about this episode is that the crew really doesn't pay any mind to this sort of terrible thing that Julie is going through, where normally they're kind of on each other's side.
Right.
And it starts off with Doc just making light of the whole thing.
Hi, kid.
Hi yourself.
What's up?
The captain's uncle just made a pass at me. Can you believe that?
Well, sure. Hey, don't put yourself down, Julie. You're not a bad-looking girl.
You know what? The only sensible any person on this ship, really, well, there's 2 people. And one is Poncherello, and he immediately, understands full well that he wants to catch up with Mackenzie Phillips. So where do you head to, Michelle? The Pirates Cove.
Correct.
And so they really just, they kind of really super get everybody up to speed when they're having a little libation.
Jimmy, we had such great times together. What happened to us?
I got busy with my music, started traveling a lot with the band.
Yeah, well, I guess that's the same thing that happened to me. After Mom died, Dad was all alone. He got to depend on me.
Yeah, you two were always close.
He's had some rough times, If he could just clinch this merger. I've got to make it happen.
Hey, take it easy. If it's not this deal, there'll be another.
I don't think so, Jimmy. He's down to his last card.
And then their moment of reunion is destroyed by one of my least favorite things on this planet, Michelle.
That is?
Male overconfidence.
Hi, Allison.
Hi, Dad. Mr. Collins?
Brad, please.
Right. This is Jim Lawrence, an old friend of mine.
Hi, Jack.
Lawrence? Well, what do you say the 3 of us play a little blackjack before dinner?
I don't know how to play.
You stick with me, honey, and I'll teach you everything you ever need to know.
Well, I think I'll change for dinner first.
Don't be too long. I'm going to need you to help me count my winnings.
So you hurry along, honey.
Michelle, this Brad guy, I know he's an actor, but he did do a pretty good job of being just the grossest
He did.
macho dude. Alan Ludden, he was being really nice. He was a really nice dad, and he really, he liked his daughter very much. And
Yeah, I mean, he didn't pressure her to go with this guy. She just took it upon herself to help her dad out. Meanwhile, sacrificing her time with Erik Estrada, Jim Warren, sax player.
Also, this episode, man, this episode was a little tough. Remember also in Chips when there was the punk rock episode? Mm-hmm. Oh my God, that was the best. And then in that episode, Poncherello gets up on stage with his other band. That's why I'm bringing it up, and he sings Celebration. This is around the same time, probably, right?
Yeah, I think, most of these actors had another television show on, so this was kind of cross-promoting them.
Was Richard Mulligan on Soap?
He was.
Oh, okay. So, because you keep saying that about Soap, and I can't remember.
It was also one of my favorite movies of all time.
What?
Scavenger Hunt.
Oh, yeah, you like that one.
I love that movie.
Man, oh, man.
Yep.
Well, you know what? Let's not talk about heavy things like that. Let's just get into the second rape attempt of Julie on this
Is that where they
episode.
set her up for the party?
Yeah, they talk her into... no one's listening to her. And then they talk her into going to some sort of party that he's throwing in his cabin.
There you are, Julie. I just want to thank you for spending so much time with Uncle Cyrus. He's having a ball.
Real son of a gun, isn't he?
You can say that again.
Boy, I've never seen an old guy with so much pep. And sure he's in great shape.
Well, he always took good care of his body.
No, he's trying to take care of yours.
Oh, there you are, nephew. No wonder we're going around in circles. Nobody's running the ship.
Oh, Uncle Cyrus, you haven't changed.
Just my socks. Hey, everybody. How about coming down to my cabin tonight for a little birthday party?
I don't know it's a birthday.
It's not, but it's always somebody's birthday. 9 o'clock, okay? Oh, no presents, please. Maybe a little watch.
How about you, Julie? You coming to the party?
No, sir. I've got a big day tomorrow.
Well, so do I, but I wouldn't miss one of Si's parties for the world.
Oh, come on, Julie. So the old man got a little impulsive this afternoon. He's probably starved for affection.
Well, I'm not going to be part of his diet.
Don't worry, we're all going to be there. If Cyrus Foster so much as puckers his lips, we'll form a circle around him.
Besides, why hurt an old man's feelings?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go.
Atta girl. But go easy on the lip gloss. You don't want to turn the old man on.
I just feel bad for Julie because she is really in a difficult situation because she knows how much the captain loves his uncle. Mm-hmm. And so she can't necessarily, that made a lot of sense to where she couldn't really be honest about the uncle's behavior. So she's kind of stuck in this really, really awkward and awful position.
Yeah, and were you going to say maybe the only thing is maybe they just didn't realize how serious it was?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe because he was so clowny that they didn't think that he was maybe capable.
Old.
Yeah.
Right.
That he was capable of that, and those are the guys you got to watch out for.
Exactly.
Well, there's all kinds of terrible male behavior on this ship because this publisher guy, he again is just completely ignoring his wife. Mm-hmm. I mean, in kind of like a really, really aggressive way.
Oh, like when they're in the lounge?
I don't know where they were. It's just...
Yeah, they were in the lounge after dinner having drinks, I'm assuming, and then I forgot how he compared her to a neck. He loves her like a neck.
This episode
so weird.
Was freaking me out, man. Oh my gosh.
Then somehow it got to, like she said, like a pain in the neck. Then they discussed this very strange metaphor for their love.
Now, do you love me?
Sure.
You say sure, but how do I know?
You asked, I tell you.
Well, that's the point. I mean, why should I have to ask you? Couldn't you sometimes tell me?
It never comes up.
Never comes up? If I don't bring it up in a conversation, you don't think about it.
Sandra, I know our love is there. It's like my neck.
Your love for me is like your neck?
Sure. I know it's there, but I don't think about it. Unless it rains.
Oh, terrific. Every time it rains, you love me.
No. Every time it rains, my neck hurts.
What it comes down to is your love for me is like a pain in the neck.
Wrong. This conversation is a pain in the neck.
I bet when it rains, Mark Littlejohn doesn't think about his neck.
Mark Littlejohn can only think about his next drink.
I bet he likes to lie in bed and listen to the rain. He's a romantic.
Or romantic. Sandy, Mark Littlejohn is a crazy person. Oh, he's a great writer. But he's like a child. He acts out every one of his fantasies.
Maybe other people ought to.
Other people know that life is more than just fun and games.
Our life could stand a little more fun and games.
Oh, Sandra, grow up.
Oh, Alfred, get with it.
She storms off, deservedly so, when you're compared to a neck.
Well, you know what we're forgetting is like, and I because it goes by so quickly in the beginning, is that she just thought that they were going to be on the cruise together.
Oh, yeah, just to have a vacation together.
Yeah, so she had completely different expectations that this was going to be fun, so you could see why she would even be more upset. I don't blame her at all.
Yeah, but I'm not going to run to Richard Mulligan.
Why? You see his slacks? And whatever those shirts, those safari shirts.
There are a lot of safari shirts on this episode, and there are a lot of men wearing gold bracelets. I don't know if you noticed that.
I don't know, man. This one was rope-a-doping me, man, this episode. It was really weird. It was a very, very strange episode.
It really was. That new writer.
Oh, yeah. Really, you got to stick with Art Bear and whatever. You gotta stay with the classics. Keep this thing on course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she's out of there. The wife is gone. I don't blame her because this he's just being such a tool to her. It's just like completely bizarre. And so, yeah, and then you got Richard Mulligan.
Swooping in.
Yeah.
Like, the husband is engrossed in work, but Richard Mulligan is just doing whatever. Like, because then it's the next day, and I did like that they were on location.
Oh, yeah.
Was it Puerto Vallarta?
I have no idea.
I believe it was because the captain expressed his love for Puerto Vallarta.
Oh, yeah, he loved it. And Fred Grandy was burning his chest in the sun in the afternoon at some point.
Getting a nice V tan.
Getting a beautiful, like, he wanted to look more like Red Buttons. Get a nice
At least
red
take your
going.
shirt off
Yeah.
all the way.
Well, speaking of red, it wasn't short after that Julie goes to the party, and she's the only one there. Are you surprised?
Welcome to the club, Cyrus.
Hello, everybody. Where is everybody?
Oh, they'll be here in a minute.
Oh.
Why don't you have a drink, Julie? Something to get the ball rolling.
Well, I was hoping the ball would already be rolling. You sure the others are coming?
Oh, they better. I just opened up a fresh can of peanuts there on the nightstand.
Aren't you old enough to be my grandfather?
Forget Sun City. This is Fun City.
Stop it! Oh. Mr. Foster!
You can call me Cyrus.
What are you doing?
I'm proposing.
Well, behave yourself and let go of me!
I like your spunk, girl. You and I can make beautiful music together.
Get yourself a tape deck.
Oh, come on, Julie. Don't play so hard to get. I'm really a nice guy once you get to know me. I draw on people.
Plant yourself on somebody else. Oh, Mr. Foster, look, what on earth is that couple doing out there?
What couple? Is it something I said?
Once again, he's in a weird robe. Once again, Julie has to fend him off.
Yeah, and she gets out just by,
Oh, no, by telling him there's a couple outside the porthole, like kissing or something.
just something
To distract
salacious,
him,
yeah,
yeah.
that could get his attention. It worked, and she slips out the door, and then she goes to like scold the crew for selling her out.
Yeah, while they're playing cards.
How could you not show up? How could you leave me there all alone with that old lecture?
Julie, he called all of us up and canceled. Yeah, he said he wanted to catch up on his sleep.
Oh, that's not all he wanted to catch up on. Oh, the sneaky, devious, deceitful tricks.
Yeah. Sounds like your technique, Doc.
You guys, that is not funny. This man is nothing but a wolf in senior citizens' clothing.
Well, maybe you should speak to the captain.
Oh, yeah? And say what?
And tell him the truth. Say, Captain, your uncle is a dirty old man who can't keep his hands to himself.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea to me.
Oh, yeah, that's terrific. You guys, the captain happens to idolize his Uncle Cyrus. I can't do that. I'm just going to have to stay out of the old goat's way. Yeah, sure. Why not? It's a big ship.
Want to raise the ante again?
Yeah, it is wild. It is really wild, her just being thrown to this little tiny wolf.
Red-headed wolf.
Yeah. What else was he in? Like, what's something that Red Buttons was in that, like, would have been famous? Can you think of anything?
He had his own show, didn't he?
You're asking
Red
the wrong
Button
guy.
show.
He did?
I'm pretty sure he did.
Man, they gave everybody a show back in the day.
It was like early, like not in the 70s, I don't think. It was like earlier, much earlier.
Yeah, like some like early like live in New York TV show where you're singing songs and throwing pies in each
Right,
other's
it's like a
faces.
variety show.
When entertainment was a lot easier than what it is.
Yeah, the Red Button show, 1952.
Like it was just like a variety show or something?
Yeah, okay, here's something weird. This is saying the first episode of the Red Button show was October 14th, 1952. Also, as I pointed out the other day, that this Love Boat episode aired on October 14
Oh.
in 1978. And as we all know,
Another demonic event took place that day.
it's my birthday, October 14th. What does it all mean?
I don't know.
Means it was a great day in television history and in life. So as I was mentioning earlier, I did like this episode because they are on location. So the crew is out on the deck tanning themselves.
Yes.
Julie's complaining about
Everything.
and says some weird thing about if her aunt.
This makes no sense.
No, and that the whole episode was called Julie's Aunt based on this one little section.
It's really weird. Like, that's weird that it's titled that. Yes, it's a section that they saved towards like 3/4 of the way through the show, and it's so unnecessary. It's weird. It's
Right.
really weird. Because he doesn't even do it well, really. He looks like a hideous Andrew sister. And what we're talking about is they finally decide on one of the guys dressing up as her aunt as a police officer.
Right.
And they choose Gopher. And it is just so strange. It's such a strange choice. I didn't understand it at all.
And that she that they put her in an actual police gown or police gown, police.
You're making zero sense.
Neither does this episode make zero sense. She's wearing a police uniform.
She,
Well, Gopher.
Aunt Phoebe,
Yeah.
it's wild. I didn't get it at all because it doesn't make any sense as far as how they're going to catch him or something like that. And even that gets more confused later on where Red is chasing after her again. And then she's supposed to ring some kind of bell and he's gone because the captain sees. That would have been I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry. Michelle, take over. Steer the ship.
I forgot about the bell part. That's what Gopher was supposed to come on as soon as she rang the bell. And of course, typical, he was running away from the captain, so the captain didn't see him in drag. So she had to fight him off for a third time. Then finally, Gopher shows up.
Yeah, and then, that's like pretty classic where like Red thinks that it actually is a woman for a moment, starts hitting on Gopher for a second, then realizes it's a man, and he comes clean, doesn't he, Michelle?
He does.
You're a guy. You're the assistant person. I guess an assistant person.
You're lucky. You almost got the doctor.
This is entrapment. I'm going to report you two to the captain.
Go ahead, Mr. Foster. I'm sure the captain would love to know what caused all of this.
I don't know why I carry on this way. I was married to Edith for 32 years. Rest her soul. And never once. It's funny how lonely you can get when you lose the most important one. I know it isn't much, but I guess it's the only excuse I have. Julie, can you ever forgive me?
Of course I can, Mr. Foster, but you've got to change your ways.
Have you tried bingo, Mr. Foster?
I guess this means that dinner is off.
Not if you promise to behave yourself.
Oh, I promise.
Then dinner's on in the dining room.
Gopher, will you join us?
Oh, I'm not dressed for dinner. See you back at the precinct.
Toodles.
Still doesn't justify his behavior.
He says that, actually. He does say that.
Yeah.
It's the one saving grace of this whole convoluted, crazy, cringy scenario because that would drive somebody to something. I mean, if he had a wife, Ethel, whatever old lady name it was, Edith, whatever, for 32 years and then you lose someone, it could turn somebody pretty weird. I mean, like you said, it doesn't necessarily, allow for that to happen, but you could understand it. And then Julie's still super nice.
I know. Then she feels sorry for him almost.
Let's go back to my main man, fellow musician, looking great with the feathered hair, just like I did back in the day. But Ponch is hurting.
He is.
He's hurting on this ship because he's confused about what's taking place with Mackenzie. Because why?
She blew him off.
Yeah, they were supposed to go to where? Puerto Vallarta together?
And he was supposed to take her around. But then she ended up going with Brad. But that's when Alan Ludden catches on that she's sacrificing her love life to help her father.
Yeah, he's really a good dad. I thought he was pretty good on this, except for his smoking habit. I thought that he was a really nice dad.
Smoking in his room. Those rooms are tiny and there's no windows.
Nice, seal it up and you get that smoke going. You hotbox that room. There's nothing better. Get on the open ocean and just smoke in your cabin.
Your tiny cabin with no ventilation.
Oh my Lord, so strange.
Oy.
But like she comes back and talks to the dad, and she is being really nice too because she's trying so hard. And she tells her dad that she really likes Brad.
Daddy, in there? news for you.
Well, I hope it's about the merger. If it doesn't go through, I'm wiped out.
Well, Dad, would you let me tell you? Now, Brad said something about keeping you on as a consultant after the deal is made.
Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, Allison, what would I do without you?
Me? I didn't do anything.
Oh, you just clinched the deal, that's all. But tell me, honey, truth, wouldn't you rather have spent the day with Jim? I mean, this Brad Collins isn't the kind of guy
Now,
you...
Dad, I really like Brad.
Really?
Really.
But the dad's smart, right?
She likes Jim Warren.
And the dad realizes that she's kind of doing this for his benefit, don't you think?
The dad, I had said earlier that the dad realized it when Erik Estrada came looking for her because the dad didn't know that she blew off spending the day with him to go with Brad.
Oh, is that the one where Ponch is all mad?
Yeah.
Jim.
Allison, do me a favor. Just leave me alone, all right?
I don't understand.
Look, it's over between us. Now let's forget about it.
Jimmy, what are you talking about?
This little game you've been playing. You and your dad are nothing but a couple of cheap hustlers. He's got you hitting on this guy just to clinch a deal.
Allison. Jim, it was all my fault. I wanted this deal so badly that I closed my eyes to what was really happening. Allison was just trying to help me. Please, forgive her. Well, forgive me.
Listen, Mr. Scott. I'm in love with your daughter. But she...
Leave it to me. I'll straighten this out.
Yeah, this was my only favorite part of this episode, I think. Because the dad tells the guy to shove off.
Marty, look at here. I found my dancing partner.
Forget dancing for a minute, Brad. Let's talk business.
Later, Marty.
No, now. Allison, wait for me at the table, please. Thank you.
What's this all about?
Look, I came on board to discuss a deal. Allison is not part of it.
Just who do you think you are laying down rules to me? You need this merger, Buster, and you need it bad.
I don't need it that bad. The deal is off.
You know what I mean? He's
Right.
like really laying it on him. And it's just like he probably had no intention of doing anything. He was just there for a good time.
Maybe, but... Or he was maybe going to do the merger, but then he saw the daughter, and it was like, I could add another element to this. But we totally bypassed the whole part of Richard Mulligan taking the wife
Oh, that's right.
of the publisher to Puerto Vallarta as well.
Oh my God, this episode.
And try to take her for the best margaritas and hotel room with a bedroom.
With the like hand-carved 4-poster bed.
Ugh.
Oh man, it's so weird. This episode, I'm sorry everyone. My apologies. It really did a number on me. It really did. Yeah, because she leaves the husband earlier. She's pensive on the deck of the ship, all, wondering, is my marriage over? And then she goes to the dude's room. I'm not here to make love, she said at some point. Then they decide to go into town that day, like you said. And he's just trying to do her, like in town
Get
somewhere.
her drunk on margaritas.
Like, what are they in, like an old Western town where you can just get a room and then...
I've never been to Puerto Vallarta, so I don't know.
Oh, my God. So this creep is, like, doing that, and she's not quite ready to, like, jump in the sack with Mulligan. But
So they just settle on some margaritas.
Oh, and then there is one other part that I do love about this episode.
What is that?
Well, as she comes back from this wonderful trip into town, like a couple of hours, she's decided that she is now with Richard Mulligan. Like she's left her husband entirely. It's just like she decides like, I'm out. And then they're just like, after all of this, they're just on the deck of the ship and she's getting sloshed, right?
Oh, that's
She
right.
didn't waste any alcohol, Michelle. You should salute her. She was
That's
pounding
true.
it down. And they're on the ship. They are just mere inches away from Mold Pool.
Yeah, your favorite pool.
My favorite pool that only has 2 feet of water in it. The
It's
rest
like
is just
4
pool.
by 4.
And then the husband comes out. You know, maybe you think conceding defeat to Richard Mulligan, and he's like, I'll take care of her because she's not going to be with this guy. I guess it's the 70s. I'm watching a whole thing on Plato's Retreat, and it's just like, it is kind of plausible based on what I've seen, the antics of couples in the 1970s. But it's like, then the husband, you know, finally finds his red buttons and decides to, like, take on Mulligan, right?
Right.
This is the part I loved. Cartoonish, not kissing, but fighting.
Complete with, like, pool.
Yeah, well, that's the culmination, but
I like how they're getting tired. They're hardly throwing punches, but they're getting exhausted.
They're older men. I mean, like, they are older men. It's really hot, and they, you know, they're wearing like polyester.
White slacks.
Yeah, like not material that breathes very well.
Probably doesn't have a lot of give either.
You know what else I think is sad for people though? I think I feel bad for like stunt men. Back in the day, because it's almost like Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park or whatever, where at some point you can see that it's not Richard Mulligan and not that
when
other
they go
actor.
into the pool, you could see it's all stunt
Almost
people.
all of it, you could tell that it's not them, and I love when they don't. It's the same as like the old Partridge Family, where what's his name? Not Carl Reiner, Rob Reiner pulls up on a motorcycle and it's totally not him. Yeah, Kiss Meets Phantom of the Park. It's not Ace Frehley. It's not Peter Criss. It's the best, but. The part that I love is like where they get to choreograph like an old-timey saloon fight. And that's what, because Isaac's involved in this. He gets hit. The captain gets hit.
Right.
It's unbelievable. And then, yes, it culminates with all of them falling into the pool
all the
together.
stunt people falling into the pool.
And the old man does a thing that I also like to do. Not only was my favorite thing to be like you're clinging to life and you're unconscious, I like when you get to do the clowny like, oh, and you pass and you pass out.
He's so tired from fighting. He passes right out on the deck.
This episode is
Well,
insane.
they both do, don't they, kind of?
Yes. Everybody just kind of like...
It did have all the makings of every fight scene of the 70s that you enjoyed as a child.
Yeah. Yes. It was insane, man. It was so crazy. Then the husband comes basically to his senses after being basically knocked out, realizing how much he loves his wife and that she is his whole life. And then the wife takes him back right then and there, right?
Mm-hmm. While these guys are nursing their wounds, another magical transformation is taking place.
You don't say. What
Not
would
just
that
red
be?
buttons, but Brad.
Yeah, his Grinch heart melts because he sees the devotion of Mackenzie Phillips to her father, and it makes him realize this is the guy I want to go into business with.
Martin, I want you to sign these papers.
What's this all about?
Remember I told you I always get what I want? Well, I don't. I don't get people knocking themselves out for me the way your kid did for you.
Well, Allison's my daughter. She cares about me.
Other people care about you too, Martin. You know how to make that happen. And that's what I'm buying. So sign right here.
What?
Here's the pen. As soon as you put your name on that dotted line, we'll get Allison and we'll take her out and celebrate.
Forget Allison.
Allison and Jim. It is Jim, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want to get to know the whole damn family.
That's the other thing. So
What?
there's no lawyers involved in this merger. I'm just going to sign the paperwork on this cruise ship in my cabin.
You're nuts. Like, why would that even concern you at all?
Because it's a merger.
Well, maybe he's a lawyer too, you know? He's a
He
powerful
didn't even
guy.
read it. He just signed it.
He knows what it is. No, I don't know.
No, I know. It's just I know it's a television show and I get too caught up in realism.
The
But
bottom line is the merger goes down because he saw what a good man Alan Ludden is, potential Canadian. And we all know the Canadians are nice, so maybe that's it. I'm assuming I'm going to go on, I'm always wrong, but like I'm going to say that he's Canadian. And it's like, yeah, he sees that and then happily ever after, he's going to be in business with this guy that you know is going to break bad on him at some point. But for now, he's saved from the poorhouse.
maybe they could give Erik Estrada a job so he doesn't have to be a life on the road as a sax player.
Oh, that's the thing, too. They had the grossest end, too, at the very end, where, like, they're talking, like, mergers, and then he does, like, a merger pun.
Hey, you two. Save it for later. You're holding up the ship.
Forget about the ship. They're holding up the biggest merger since Sears and Roebuck.
Sorry, man. We're working on a merger of our own.
Poor Erik Estrada had to say that dumb line.
I know. And not to out Red Buttons is going to outdo that with an even creepier line.
Great ship, Mel.
wonderful crew, especially Julie. You know, I've got quite a crush on that girl.
Oh, come on, Uncle Cyrus. Isn't she a little too young for you?
Of course she is. Meryl, what do you think I am, a cradle snatcher? Julie, Gopher, I want to thank you both for a wonderful time.
Well, Uncle Cyrus, it was great having you aboard. It was a real challenge.
I won't forget you in a hurry.
I won't forget you, Gopher. Cute knees.
You take care of yourself, Uncle Cyrus, all right? You cutie.
Julie, one last question.
Sure.
You got a younger sister?
Oh my God. Can you get me a whole bottle of whiskey right now? It was so, like, you thought you were out of the woods with this.
We thought, like, everybody had, like, come to their senses.
And they completely drag you back into gross, even worse.
I was not prepared for that.
Dude, I don't know what to tell you.
Like, he redeemed himself, and then they made him say that at the end.
And this is the thing. We thought there was going to be tons of inappropriate stuff. And they do basically say that his behavior is wrong, but they still made it, like, funny in a way, and it's not at all.
No.
It was so gross.
Nothing about it is funny.
Oh, my gosh. Did we cover everything?
I think we did. Yeah.
I feel like I've been punched in the fight on this one for some reason.
We've wrapped it all up. It's a confusing episode with too much going on, so we can end it in a little chaotic way.
You guys, I need to put a poll on this. Did you enjoy this one? Did you not enjoy this one? Were you as creeped out like we were? Spotify listeners, check the polls. I definitely will ask something. This will be a very serious question. There will be no humor involved in this one, I think. All right, well, we're in the same sort of like ballpark on the next episode, you guys. Billy Crystal is the villain who's responsible for what's about to happen. And it's completely weird in a lot of ways as well. But I do think it'll be more enjoyable. And there were some kind of enjoyable parts to this one. I mean, I think some of the people did some good stuff. So yeah, meet us back here, you guys. Check out the questions for you Spotify listeners. And until next time, I am Istvan.
I'm Michelle.
Captain Stubing, please come to the bridge.
And we are
loving the Love Boat. Maybe not this time.
Come here, Michelle.
Yeah.